Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 7 of class. This week, we will talk about things like health and wellness and esports and how we can interact with that as coaches and managers in a couple different ways, right? So, obviously, we've got a couple readings and stuff for this week, and then an assignment due. I realized that this week is the week before spring break, and the assignment is due on Sunday. So, technically, when breaks after it starts, treat this no differently as if it were a class that you were attending in person, because I know that you're going to have assignments due this week at some point for all your classes. So please pay attention to those. Make sure that you get it in before the due date because I've seen a few of you start missing more assignments lately. And I know that we drop a couple of the weekly assignments, but you're going to start feeling that in your grade if we don't submit those properly and on time. So just wanted to give the heads up there that it drops the lowest two, but you only get two of those, and I think we're starting to see some of the effects of it. So please stay up to date on all of your assignments, and then we can just keep it moving. Anyways, we'll hop right into the lecture now. All right, so let's look at the week 7 to do topics: health and wellness and esports. We have some linked articles for you in this video that you're hopefully watching, and then we have the weekly assignment. Like I said, understand spring break's coming up, but just make sure you have your stuff done um, before break. Right into the readings. So I've linked 3 different articles here for you. I'm not saying that you have to go in and like in-depth read all 3 of these. These are more resources for you to see how um, different types of organizations or things like that are going to how they're going to handle health and wellness, right? So, for example, with my team right now, health and wellness is actually handled through our strength and conditioning coach. So I as a coach now don't have to worry too much about all of our health and wellness. Health, I definitely worry about the wellness of my players. But in terms of things like exercise, workout routines, things like that, we have a strength coach on staff that works with all of our athletic teams at Spalding, who's able to actually work individually with teams to look at the different types of stuff that we're doing. So for esports, we do definitely more just promote general health things. We focus on the back because we're sitting a lot. Um, we'll do some like hand and wrist things, especially when it comes to stretches. And working with our athletic trainers and stuff. But there's a lot of different ways that you can interact with health and wellness. So that's why I wanted to offer up a couple different types of articles for you guys to look through and read through. I've also attached a wellness plan that I put together for a class that I did. Um, just to I have to click this. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna pause the recording and figure this out. I'll be right back. All right, and unpause. So this is a wellness plan that I put together. Actually, when I was in grad school, and as you can see, I did this for Manchester Esports. So, um, I don't expect your weekly assignment to look like this. This is what we're getting towards when it comes to that org project too, though. So something to keep in mind as we build toward that. So thinking about a wellness plan, there's a couple of different things that you want to look at. What type of approach are you taking? So I think a holistic approach usually works pretty well. Um, Focus on physical activity, keeping people where they need to be. Mental health is huge when it comes to esports. Tilt management in particular, making sure that you're doing what you need to do. And then looking at your equipment as part of your overall health and stuff too. Looking at finding balance and longevity in esports players, and then how can we assess, recommend, and then make recommendations and guidelines off of those assessments for the players. So I broke this down into 3 different parts, as any wellness plan looks at not just one thing, but again multiple. So how can we keep people active? Obviously, always doing assessments, and then here's the type of actions and stuff that we could do. So looking at breaks every hour when it comes to those practices. So you're not just sitting staring at a screen, getting up, going for a walk, doing stretches, dedicated gym time for practices. So building that into our practice plans and stuff. And then how do we do continued wellness with esports players. What are we gonna do to keep them engaged in what we're doing? So next, mental health. How can we address this? What are the types of actions we can take? Find that continued wellness. And then same thing for equipment. Look at what we're using, how we're using it, and how it can serve us better as esports players is kind of the thing here. So this is here for you to read through and to see kind of what we're looking at when we come to some of those wellness plans. I think a good example of what potentially your project could look like, not necessarily this week's assignment. Speaking of this week's assignment, we got it right here. So complete this assignment as if you're the director of Manchester Esports, guys. Please focus on what I say at the top of these assignments. I mean, I've had people do just the complete wrong thing because you didn't read one sentence. So please, it's right there written out for you. But what we're going to do, create a wellness plan. So this is, again, not as in-depth as the presentation I just showed you, but more of like the bullet points with a brief description of kind of each part of that plan. Essentially, this first part is your guideline for the first part of your org project too. Because we're gonna go in depth as part of the project. This is your rough draft. I will give feedback so that you can have a better idea of what to do with your project. Same thing for the exercise routine for your players. And big thing here is give reasoning for the workouts that you chose and the schedule that you chose to do. So for this workout routine, this is something that I want to be incorporated into practice, not just do these workouts for 2 weeks. Here we go. This is our 2 week plan. It's a hey, we're incorporating this into practice for some of that like long term health and things like that. So keep an eye out for that for me. Again, during the season, not during like a boot camp or anything like that. So next, I believe I've talked about this, but wanted to bring it up just one more time. Org project revisions are in. Um, Midterm grades are due, I think, during spring break. I will grade these as I get them. So whether or not that reflects on your midterm is depends on if you turn it in, basically. So like I said, up to half credit back on your assignments. If you got a 50%, that means you missed 50% of the points that you could get, so you can gain 25 back to have up to a 75% if you address all the feedback and submit the revisions in a way that addresses maybe why you missed those points. So please take a look at the feedback that I gave. And if you have any questions as you're doing these revisions, reach out to me, and I can help get those going for you. Next, org project 2, just wanted to touch base on this again. You will see that I adjusted the date that it's due. Sorry, over here, March 29th, to reflect spring break. So that means we're gonna have the week after break to work on these as well. They originally were due on the wrong days, so sorry about that. Um, yeah, right here we got a couple different expectations for you. Part 1, create an in-depth practice plan for your professional team. So we've already kind of made a practice plan. To be honest, the practice plans that you guys submitted for your assignments, none of them were good. Some of them met the assignment, but I left feedback for everyone, so that you know what to do as we expand on it. And it's not just bullet points and stuff like that. I definitely want some reasonings and stuff. These are projects, not just homework. And then same thing for this wellness plan. So your week 7 assignment is going to be an outline for this part 2. So put some thought, literally right here. Put some thought into what you're doing this week, and like in the lens that it's going to help you when it comes to your project. That's all I have for this week. Let me know if you guys have any questions when it comes to any of the projects or the revisions, any of the assignments, anything like that that you guys have. Please let me know. Always here to help. Just got to reach out. Thank you.